Morning folks, John here. Oh god, it's an early morning start for me today. Yeah, just a little bit of a reflection on things that are going on in Canada. Now, apparently there's been a number of people in the public who haven't been to the protests in Ottawa, but what they did do was they supported the GoFundMe by donating money, and it appears that they did it electronically. And apparently they've had their bank accounts frozen as well. Not just the protesters, not just the truckers, because of course they'd have to get the registration plates off the trucks and then pursue that, and there's the people, they're the people whose accounts they've frozen. And then at the same time, anybody that gets arrested at the protests, and I suppose if they've got CCTV watching, people get cash out of cash points during the protests, and then following them back there, they get details that way as well. Now, what it appears to me that the establishment are really now showing their true hand, because they've got the ability to roll out emergency legislations or laws or whatever they want to see them as, and effectively they can just pretend that they're from 1930s Germany whenever it suits them. And Trudeau is labelling all these protesters as terrorists, and that's what we've seen coming from the woke tard left, is anybody that they don't agree with, they want to try and silence them and shut them down. And with all the regulations and culling of free speech on popular social media platforms, it's all because they're labelling us as domestic terrorists. Most of my viewers will be on a list of some sort down at GCHQ. I'm probably on a list at GCHQ, undoubtedly, and I don't care. Now, with the way people donated to GoFundMe, and also there's that other funding thing, is it Go Fund Run or something? I can't remember what it's called. Give, Send, Go. They've stopped that as well, and again they're going to be going after people's bank accounts that donated.
Watch out, construction on road ahead.
Watch out, construction on road ahead. Oh, that's right, there it is. Passing construction. Anyway, people that donate money, why do we need to use these big Fund Me type platforms for starters? And also, why don't people use an intermediary like, I mean, what did we used to do? We used to have post office postal orders, or MoneyGram wire transfers, those sorts of things. Because if they use an intermediary to make those donations, then nobody can be touched. You know, there's no trace, there's no tracking back to who it was that made the transfer. And there's plenty of places that you can go. I mean, there's that World Bank, I think it is, or something, that you see on the high streets with MoneyGrams. And I know that a lot of people are probably familiar with MoneyGrams and money transfer things through the, what is it, the Nigerian 419 scam and all the other associated scams that have coming out of a collection of different countries. They want you to go down there and wire money to them for different things, and then not get provided with the service. So that's really all I wanted to say, was if you're going to donate money to these anti-establishment causes, now that we've seen that they're shutting people or freezing people's bank accounts, use an intermediary to donate your money. Don't use electronic means. Go to the post office, go to one of these transfer places with cash. Go get cash out of your own bank, and then walk down there and pay cash. No trace. Simple. And what was the other thing? Trudeau, one of his associates, was on about all these trucks that they've confiscated and towed away in Ottawa. Somebody went on the news as though they were moaning because the protests have disrupted their little businesses in Ottawa, and they want to recuperate losses by selling the trucks. So they've confiscated or stolen people's property And bearing in mind that the truckers that have been to the protests, these are people that are independent truckers, and it's their own vehicles, because they're not fleet truckers for big businesses like UPS or DHL or something. And I mean, they make up about 10% of the total truckers anyway. But they've taken property, and there's got to be something that they can do, you know, the people can do about that. It's disgusting. It's theft, and it's war, basically. That's the thing. This is war. Canada have gone full Gestapo. Australia, New Zealand, they've both gone full Gestapo, and they're all Commonwealth. So where's the Queen? Why isn't the Queen stepping in and saying, no, we're not doing this? Because she doesn't really have any proper power, does she? You know, the ones that have got all the real power are the ones like BlackRock Finance and the Rothschild banking family cartel. They're the people that have got the real power, and now we're looking at technocratic pharmaceutical corporations having all the power as well. It's a disgrace. 2022, and this is where we're at. But I tell you something, all us truthers like me and all the other people that have been sharing all this for the last decade or so, because we knew it was coming and we kept saying, and people laughed at us and mocked. But now what we've got to do is we've got to say to people, do you now understand? Are you finally going to get on board with us and fight? Because this is going to take everybody. This isn't over in Britain. Just because Bojo the clown has opened his big gob and said that he's going to be cancelling all the rules and regulations regarding the last 2 years worth of nonsense, it doesn't mean that it's over, not by a long shot. You know, what they do want is they do want digital passports. They do want ID. I've got to drink something because my voice is going. They want everybody to be enslaved through health passports, which we know, you know, I mean, I cottoned onto this pretty early on, about sort of April 2020, because I looked at that V Health passport company that's run by some Freemason bloke who's in social media pictures on his own profile wearing all his Freemason get-up. Now, this isn't a dig at Freemasons, because I know a few people who are Freemasons. I know a couple of people who are ex-Freemasons, although apparently they say that you can never leave. And they're nice people. You know, it's not all Freemasons that are the problem. It's just the overall agenda of things, you know. But I forgot what I was saying now. Anyway, I'm just having a rant while I'm on my way home. Another long day of photo and video editing, and that's the other effect that it's had on me. I mean, of course, it killed me mum because they cancelled her operation. It cost me photography business over 110, probably getting on for more than that now. Cancelled and moved bookings where the free replacement date I couldn't sell to a new customer. It's also swamped me with photo and video editing, because it was about 2 years worth of weddings all got cancelled and moved, and a lot of them were squashed into the last 5 months, 6 months of 2021, and then a stack of them over this year as well. And that's on top of all my other bookings where they're for the dates this year as it is. So I'm absolutely swamped in photo and video editing, and it's a long slog. I've got another laptop coming just to try and keep up. I've bought, it's going to take 4 weeks to come though, but hey, it's a Dell top of the range gaming laptop. It's not the Alienware one, because I didn't want to spend £4,500 on an Alienware laptop. But it's got the latest top-end processor, the latest almost top-end graphics card, and hopefully it'll speed up the rendering things, because I'll use that one primarily for video editing while I use my other laptop, which is an i7 core, quad-core, 7th generation, I think that one is. Anyway, I'm prattling on. But yeah, I've ended up buying another computer just to try and keep up. I mean, I've just had a 4-day break in South Wales, and I mean, it was great bobbing about in a hot tub at this cottage that we'd rented, me and Nat and the 2 Yorkies. But I need another one. You know, I don't bloody know. I mean, I just thank my lucky stars that I run my business properly to the point where I've not gone bust, you know, because there's been a lot of wedding photographers, videographers, DJs, florists, dressmakers, suit tailorers, loads and loads of different wedding suppliers in the weddings and hospitality industry, DJs, that they all shut up shop and went, you know, especially DJs. I feel sorry for them, because I know a lot of people who have, you know, over the last 10 years, they've given up their full-time work like I did back in 2009, and they've put all their eggs in the one basket to do wedding and events DJing and corporate stuff. And it was bad enough locking down during 2020 and 2021 and banning weddings and events from happening at all. But when everything started to reopen and people like me could do the photography and videography, the DJs still weren't allowed, because the government was mandating against loud music, because they didn't want people dancing and spitting and shouting at each other over loud music. And that was the tipping point for a lot of the people I know who were DJs, because they just thought, you know what, fuck this, and they stuck all their equipment on eBay, and of course nobody was buying it because no fucker could use it, and nobody knew what the everything was uncertain. There was no way for a new upstart to create a DJing business. Ridiculous. What else was there? I think that's about it for now anyway. So yeah, I just thought I'd have a rant. I mean, yeah, so it was about using intermediaries to pay for funding. Now, this is the other thing I was going to say. We don't need to use GiveSendGo or GoFundMe or any of these big corporates, because who are they? You know, who are they? Wasn't it GoFundMe? Wasn't it discovered that they're not an actual business, allegedly, and that they're just a PO box run by a couple of people of some description? I think there was something to do with that, I found out last week or the week before, when all this, I mean, GoFundMe have basically imploded. Nobody trusts them anymore. You know, if they can freeze and steal money, you know, what was it? Was it 10 million, $11 million or something like that was raised for the truckers and the protesters? And they've nicked it all, and either people can demand it as a refund, or they can, or if it's not asked back, if it's not requested to be refunded, it all ends up going on a charity or a thing of their choice, you know, the GoFundMe people. Utterly fucking ridiculous. It reminds me of Grenville. When Grenville Tower were burnt down, there was about 26 million pounds raised within a couple of weeks of it happening, or a month or so, and that money was to be distributed among the survivors and their families. Yet it was a year and a half later, and they'd still got people living out of hotels with no actual a house or anything, you know. And this is bearing in mind that everything that they owned has gone. A lot of people's documentation was gone because they kept it all at home, of course. So there was a lot of people who couldn't even prove who they were or where they lived, etc. But the main thing was who the fuck took that 26 million quid, the London Emergency Fund, and then they didn't distribute it? They've sat on the fucker. Who the fuck are they? Because I tell you something, I'd be prepared, right? I'd be prepared to set up a funding collection system whereby me and probably one or two other people, the minimum amount of people that you need to administrate it and deal with it all, to run it, take a reasonable small medium salary for it, because you'd need to take a salary for it because you'd have to spend all your time focused on it, and you'd need to give up another job sort of thing. I mean, I'm not saying I'd give up doing photography at all, I'm never going to do that. So but I'd be prepared to set up an independent funding system that's not affiliated in any way, shape or form with any of these motherfuckers that can just decide to say, no, we're not going to do it, we're going to freeze your assets, blah de blah. And that was the thing. I know I put a video up a couple of days ago about Trudeau trying to go after Bitcoin accounts for the protesters, and Bitcoin told them to fuck off, and rightly fucking so as well. Because that's the thing with these Bitcoin and Ethereum crypto, at least, not all crypto, because they're starting to try and have regulated crypto, and banks and state banks trying to create crypto just to try and con everybody into thinking that it's the same as Bitcoin. Well, they can't touch Bitcoin, and they've got no jurisdiction to touch people's accounts. They've got no authority to demand Bitcoin wallet numbers and identification for people from platforms and the online wallet apps that keep people's Bitcoin for them. So it looks like if things keep going as they are, people are going to soon wake up and say, right, I want a solution for my assets and wealth that the greedy, grubby, slimy establishment lot can't touch. Bitcoin. Have a look at Max Kaiser. They kicked him off YouTube, but Max Kaiser still pops up in other people's things talking about Bitcoin, and he's a hodler. He sits on it, he does, like a lot of people do, and he you know, he's got a good lot of stuff to say about Bitcoin, is all I'm going to say. But anyway, 17 minute rant. Right, I need to finish. Right, I'll upload this straight away once I get home. Bye. We're not off. Missed again.